Being a family man, I have kids, and I want to make sure that my mortgages are insured, or that there's life insurance and stuff on that debt that I might carry, so then it's not going to be a burden. Going through RBC, is that a requirement that through RBC the people would actually have to take the coverage out, or is it possible for them just to have their own life insurance to deal with that?
Part of the application process when I sit down with them is we talk about the creditor insurance. So the creditor insurance is the life and disability insurance on the mortgage and or that line of credit portion for the home line plan. No, Corey, it's not mandatory. However, I would certainly want, our home buyers to make sure that they are covered somewhere, somehow, right? And I also ask everybody to have a look or have a second look at what their disability policies are at work, because a lot of us, we know we have disability out there, but we don't know 100% what it's covered, right? And last October I broke my foot, so it's kind of funny that, when you actually look into your disability plans, a little bit shocked in some cases what it's worth and what you've got going on out there, right? So no, not mandatory, as I say, but again, they should be covered somewhere, especially in a case scenario where, you've got a family man at home, in some cases where you've got a husband and wife that maybe she's a stay-at-home mom and he's the breadwinner in the family, right? Or vice versa in some cases. So again, you want to make sure that if in the event of something happening, that they are covered, whether it's RBC and or somewhere else that's of their choice.
So say on the unfortunate side of things, they didn't have any kind of coverage. What would be the outcome, I guess, if the spouse is now having to deal with that mortgage? Like what is that going to look like?
Correct. They would sit down with one of my colleagues in the branch and go through their estate process. Part of that process, again, is having the surviving spouse have titles changed. And again, back to the products that we were talking about, whether it's a traditional everyday mortgage or a line of credit, in some cases you actually have to requalify to carry the mortgage, right? So you're really going to want to think long and hard in regards to, it's maybe not a payment that you want to have, but that you'd maybe want to sell, right? So when you sit down and you look at the insurance costs and coverages, can you really afford not to be insured, right? So we would sit down and have those conversations. And again, the inevitable, if somebody does pass away, you got to sit down and say, do I have the money to afford the payments, and or do I have to sell?
I know it's always a tough question or tough topic to talk about, but I think it's so important.
It's a very important topic to talk about.